Hello friends, so welcome to this lecture. So in this particular demo, we'll see how we can register an application within Azure Active Directory. See, in the last couple of demos, we have seen how we have created users and groups. Basically, those users will be accessing the various kind of resources, or that group of users will be using the resources depending on the access they have. So similarly, there might be a possibility that, okay, the applications which are there and they need access to certain Azure resources. In that case, how they can do that? So in Azure, we can do that by registering an app within Azure AD, and in that case, we'll get a service principal which basically will be used to access the various services within the Azure, maybe a key vault, maybe a storage account. So in that way, we have provided a kind of identity your application, and in that way, it will be authenticated by the Azure AD, and then it will grant access to the other Azure services. So we'll see how we can register an app within Azure AD, how we can provide the role-based access, all these things we'll see. So in order to register an app, let's move on to the Azure Active Directory where we need to register an app. So go to the app registrations tab under manage, and then you need to provide the name. So I have already created one web app which we used for one of our demos. So I'll create a new, so give a name SA app test, and security architects test tab basically we created. So in this case you need to provide that, okay, if that particular app will be used in the single tenant like the Azure Active Directory we have, or it is will be used for the multi-tenant or for some personal accounts as well, right? Skype, Xbox, all those things. In that case, we need to select the option. So in this case, we'll be using it for the this single tenant only, and then click on register. Once it will be registered, there are a couple of things for which you need to pay attention. So once you create that app, basically this is the display name and this is the application ID or client ID you can say, and this is the tenant ID. So both these application and tenant ID would be required by your application, which needs to be entered in the code so that that can access the various resources. So these two are very important, application and the tenant ID. Now the other thing is, you have created this app. Now this app needs to be provided access to some resources, right? Maybe to a subscription or to a resource group, so that this app can really work on the other resources and can access the resources depending on the access we have provided. So in that case, let's say if you need to provide this particular app which you have registered as a app test, since we have created it in Active Directory, we should be able to provide some access to this particular service principal, or like we provide access to a user. So in that case, what we can do is you can go to the subscriptions which you are having. So let me go to the Azure Active Directory, and or we can type in the subscriptions you are having. Yeah, and then like I am having the free trial subscription. So what we can do is click on this particular subscription, or whichever subscription within the enterprise for which you need to provide that application access. Then once that particular subscription is selected, click on access control and then click on add. So don't worry, we'll have uh, the separate lecture onto the role-based access as well as demos, and you'll have a better clarity. For the time being, just remember the tab access control and then add a role assignment. So depending on the access you want to provide to a particular application, you need to provide the role. So what kind of role you need to provide? So in that case, application need access, let's say to restart or reboot something, provide a contributor kind of access. Then here you can see that assign access to which thing, like AD user, group, or a service principal, like which we get when we register the app within an Azure. So in that case, we'll select the app which we have registered, SA. It should be available over here. SA test, SA app Yeah, see, this is the app. If you remember, we registered in the application in the Azure Active Directory. So now, in this way, we have provided access to this particular app. What kind of access we have provided? We have provided a contributor access onto which resource? Onto this particular subscription free trial which I am having. So click on save. So in this way, the first thing you have done is provided the access to that particular app. Now, let me go back to the Azure Active Directory, and the other options we have is Active Directory, and where we have that app registration. And if you'll open this particular app which we have registered, now the other thing is, in order to get this app authenticated with the Azure AD, it needs some kind of certificates or secrets for which you can provide the information that, okay, if you have any certificate, then you need to upload the certificate, or you can do it by some by creating some self-signed certificate via PowerShell as well. And you can use the client secret as well. So both of these options can be used within this application, so that it can get authenticated to the Active Directory. Now this particular app also, the one thing we have done is we have provided this app to a contributor access onto this particular subscription. There might be a requirement wherein this particular application which we have created need access to other services like Azure Key Vault, storage account, right? Then what kind of access or API call this application SA app test can make to the other resources, we can provide access from here. So you can click on add permission, and let's say if I need to provide access to let's say Azure Key Vault or Azure Storage. Let's say if this application, we need to authorize this application to access to Key Vault. So in that case, what kind of access we need to provide, right? We can provide this, have full access to the Azure Key Vault. So this is how you can provide access to some other resources as well, or authorize this particular app to, let's say, access Azure storage account, right? In that case, we can provide access. So we can hide permissions. So all these things we can do to provide access to that particular application so that it can access various resources within the Azure. So thank you, friends. Thank you for watching this lecture. Hope you now have the clarity that, okay, what is service principal and how we can provide access to different resources. So thank you. Thank you for watching this lecture. Meet